Hey, everybody, welcome back to the Pro Wrestling Escape podcast, your pro wrestling escape. Today, we're going to dive into a hot one, the top 5 most overrated wrestlers ever. Now, listen, being overrated does not mean they were not stars, they did not draw money, or they didn't change the game. It just means a combination of the hype, the push, or the legacy that doesn't fully match the actual in-ring ability, consistency, and the fan connection, which I think is the most important. Some of these names are icons today. Some are current stars, and I know some of you are going to disagree with me, and that's perfect. That's what makes wrestling fun and enjoyable to an extent. But before we dive in, I just want to thank everyone who's been tuning in every week, whether it's 10, 20, 50, or 100 of you. It means the world to me that you're choosing to spend time with me talking wrestling weekly. You're the reason I keep this rolling. So big shout out to the Escape crew on that. This week in WWE history, we're going to go back to September 24th, 1995, in your house triple header. This was a one-of-a-kind main event. Diesel was the WWF champion at the time. Shawn Michaels was the Intercontinental champion at the time. And they teamed up against the tag team champions, Yokozuna and Owen Hart. The twist of this, all the titles were on the line at the same time. Whoever got pinned would lose their belt to the other team. Crazy, right? Winner takes all. During the match, Owen Hart wasn't even supposed to be there because of a storyline injury. He showed up late, ending up being pinned, which technically meant Diesel and Shawn left with all the gold. But the next night, WWE reversed it, saying Owen was not the legal man, so the tag titles went back to Owen Hart and Yokozuna. Classic example of mid-90s WWF booking with high drama, big stakes, some big question marks, and chaos, of course, to keep us talking. Okay, now we are going into our main event. And speaking of hype, not always matching reality, let's get into it. We're going to count down the top 5 most overrated wrestlers ever. Number 5, we have Ultimate Warrior. The music, the sprint to the ring, the face paint. Warrior had one of the most electrifying entrances in wrestling history. Kids loved him. He felt larger than life. But once the bell rang, kind of a different story. His matches were often short, somewhat sloppy, and carried by his opponents. His best match ever, in my opinion, was against Macho Man Randy Savage, WrestleMania 7. And that's because Savage laid out every single detail. Warrior was all character, really not much in the ring. WWE did push him as the heir to Hulk Hogan, but he burned out pretty quickly. He held the title less than a year. Business dropped, not because of him solely, but definitely played a role. And by the early 90s, he was gone. Overrated doesn't mean he was not fun. It means for him, his in-ring skill never came close to matching the hype. Number 4. Everybody's favorite, which I feel like this guy would probably be number 1 on most people's list, and that is Goldberg. Listen, the streak in WCW was magic. You had the entrance, the smoke, the intensity. You couldn't look away when he came on TV. He was presented as unstoppable, and it worked. But technically, a 1 to 2 trick pony, spear, jackhammer. Matches rarely went over 5 minutes, and when they did, the weaknesses really started to creep up. And the bigger issue that we all know is Goldberg, he hurt people. Not intentionally, but Bret Hart's career ended shortly because of a kick to the head. And my recent cringe moment of the week was his match against Undertaker in Saudi Arabia. Just flat out dangerous. That could have been more age and rust in combination of that, as he was not in his prime. But he's a Hall of Famer, no doubt, but his in-ring work just never justified the kind of dominance that he was given. And that's why Goldberg lands here. Number 3, Big Sexy Kevin Nash, also known as Diesel. I'll give him credit. I always start with the positives. The guy oozed charisma. He had a cool look, killer presence, and he was part of some of wrestling's most important moments. Diesel in WWE, then in NWO and WCW with Kevin Nash, which is legendary. But in the ring, slow, kind of plodding, and often uninspired. His WWE title reign in 1994, it was one of the lowest drawing periods ever. Again, solely not his fault, but he played a role. In WCW, he was more famous for his politics backstage, and today he is too, with his Twitter fingers, more than his 5-star matches. He relied on his size and his persona rather than putting on classic matches, which is fine. There's a whole separate category for those kind of guys. But if you compare him to other big men, such as Undertaker, Kane, Vader, you see the gap with the in-ring ability. Nash made his career on personality, and while he did make his money, he was overrated as a worker. Big Daddy cool? Sure. Big Daddy match quality? Not so much. Number 2. I think this is where it's going to start getting a little spicy, and some people may turn it off, throw their phone. Well, hopefully not. It's not that serious. It's still professional wrestling. Charlotte Flair. Now look, we're going to do some positives. Charlotte, phenomenal athlete, strong, consistent, and she's had big time matches on the biggest stage. You're probably wondering, Kyle, you just harped on in-ring ability. Here's where I'm going with this. Multi-time champion in the face of the women's division for at least a decade. But she's also been overpushed. Whether you want to agree with that or not, she was pushed heavily. WWE positioned her as the chosen one, sometimes at the expense of other women such as Sasha Banks, Asuka, Bayley, and Becky Lynch. Fans have often felt like she was handed opportunities based on her last name than on fan connection. Again, in-ring ability is not the argument here. She delivered in big matches. But how many title reigns are we at now? 14, 15? And how many of them felt necessary? Sometimes less is more, but Charlotte's been presented as the star consistently, and it has created some resentment among the fan base. Great athlete, great career, but overrated in the sense that she's been positioned as untouchable, even when the fans wanted someone else. Number 1. This is definitely going to ruffle some feathers, so I'm ready for it, I think. Roman Reigns. Specifically, pre-Tribal Chief years. Okay, did that calm you down a little bit? 2014 to about 2019, WWE tried everything they could to make Roman the next John Cena. Handpicked the babyface consistently in the main event and consistently in title matches. But the fans weren't buying it. Remember the Royal Rumble 2015 in Philly? Rock himself could not save that crowd from booing Roman out of the building. For years, the fans resisted, myself included. Not because Roman was bad in the ring, but he was just really just being shoved down our throats before we thought he was ready. Now I know the fans can't really control much, but we definitely have a voice still. And his promos nowadays, absolute money. Back then, should have never been on live TV. And those were the early years where the definition of overrated. He was pushed like the top guy without connecting like a top guy. The mic skills weren't there yet. Like I said, the character wasn't really there yet, and fans immediately rejected it. Now, fast forward 2020, reinvents himself as the tribal chief, and suddenly he is the best act in wrestling. But those early years, that's why he tops this list. All right, enough of my list. I'm sure received some DMs that, we're going to cross the line, whatever. Hey, shoot me your top 5, then we can debate it if you'd like. But let's hear from you. I did ask you guys earlier in the week to provide who your most overrated wrestler is and maybe give examples as to why that wrestler in your eyes is overrated. Starting off first, I have Ellie_ET_Ness. This is more of a holistic view. I think the new WWE product is overproduced and too clean cut. It's missing the grime and the chaos vibe that we all fell in love with as kids. I'm assuming that's Attitude Era, Ruthless Aggression area. And she went on to say, thought Goldberg was a little overrated. Totally fair. WWE today definitely has that polished, almost corporate feel. Not almost, it really is kind of compared to the raw chaos that we grew up. Again, product of the Attitude Era is right here. Very different. However, I'm still a fan, still watching. And on the Goldberg note, we already know he's in my top 5. polarizing name, but that's really about it. So you're not alone there. Thank you for that one. Next up, we have at that's just Chris underscore his wrestler, Jeff Hardy. His reasoning: he has no mic skills at all, limited moveset, and most of his matches are just spot fest. Totally get it. Some wrestlers lean heavy on the big spots instead of telling a full story in the ring, which I feel like a lot of us enjoy more. It can make the matches feel flashy, but shallow. So, Chris, no argument for me. He definitely does not have the mic. He is part of some of the biggest moments ever in professional wrestling. However, that could overrate him a little bit. So I do get that. Next up, we have at Aiden Martinez 16. His wrestler, Brock Lesnar. Aiden went on to say he's overrated because they keep trying to force us into forgetting about the allegations. They're also pushing him to being the beast again, like he is still in his prime, and he's clearly not. Fair point on the allegations. WWE also does have a habit of forcing certain stars back into the spotlight, whether fans are buying it or not. And if the prime years are truly behind him, the push feels even more out of place. So I get Aiden's perspective. The only thing I will say to counter, it's not really countering it, it's just one little thing. When Brock came out at WrestlePalooza, I couldn't believe the shape he was in. Now, and I know inside the ring, his matches are, at least with Cena at that point, was F5, suplex F5, right? So I get that, but I still had the look of the beast. But thanks, Aiden, for that feedback. And then some others just dropped some names that they felt were overrated. I'll go ahead and shout them out now. We had at Navaditas, went on to say Eddie Kingston. Okay. At Colt Gentry Pro, Bret Hart. Yeah, I said it. Okay. And then at Marcel underscore SCR0309, Daniel Bryan. All right. Those are some spicy ones. Okay. But there it is. My top 5 list of the most overrated wrestlers ever. Number 5, I had Ultimate Warrior. Number 4, Goldberg. Number 3, Kevin Nash. Number 2, Charlotte Flair. And number 1, Roman Reigns. Pre-Tribal Chief. Again, this is not about disrespect. Every name here has made an impact on wrestling on what it is today. But overrated is about the gap between hype and delivery and in-ring ability. And hey, you disagree? Perfect. Hit me up. Send me your takes. And then we'll get you on the next Crowd Speak segment. Okay. Now, before you go, one quick favor. If you are enjoying the Pro Wrestling Escape podcast, hit that follow button if you haven't already. Drop a review on Spotify or Apple Podcasts. To you, it may feel small, but those reviews do tell the algorithms of the platforms, hey, this show is actually getting some traction. We should show this to more wrestling fans. It's exactly what we need to do to keep building this community, to get more fan takes and crowd speaks, dive even deeper into the wrestling moments that we all love and hate. So really appreciate that. But for now, this is your Pro Wrestling Escape. Have a great week, everybody.